Hello, and thanks for coming along to And We Have an Office Dog, the digital agency podcast where we're talking to the people behind the agency, the service providers, coaches, and mentors to discuss what it's like working with you, the agency leader. With your host, Chris Simmons, the Agency Accelerator, talking to a different agency growth partner in each episode. What they love about working with you, what they wish you knew. All will be revealed. Okay, so let us begin. Over to you, Chris.
Thanks, voiceover guy. And on the podcast today, we've got Nate, the CEO of Diginius. How are you doing, Nate?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Welcome to the podcast. First of all, let us know a little bit about who you are, how you got into this field that you're in, and what you guys at Diginius do.
Yes, I'm the founder and CEO of Diginius. I guess I've kind of come from a long history in the industry. Started out back in we're based in London now. Been here for the last, I guess, close to 15 years, but started in the U.S. I was a computer science undergrad, and I sold books door to door for straight commission in the summers to pay my school fees. And when I went to business school and met a guy, and we started a company and in the kind of the garden sector, and we tried all sorts of different ways to sell our products from door to door, trade shows, direct mail, and then eventually we put up a website and started getting orders from different places, and found it was intriguing, and so we focused on that for quite a while, and eventually the first, it's kind of before Google, the first PPC engine came out called GoTo.com and started buying traffic, and it was, for a technologist to be able to program and kind of do your sales and demos automatically with paid traffic, and back then it was a penny a click and no competition, so $20 bought you a decent amount of traffic.
Yeah.
And yeah, we grew it and eventually became known as the kind of top garden guy in the U.S. As the kind of largest privately held company, and if you wanted to buy a gnome, it was probably from me. And I used to rule the sundial world, and all these little niches. Eventually helped run companies like garden.com, dog.com, bike.com, and then Diginius was founded with the idea. I had a lot of friends ask me, how do you do this? How do you do that? And it just seemed to be quite a big gap in the market. Because as the whole industry evolved, it went from a lot of the guys I started with eventually all got bought up. They changed it, and you had a monopoly situation where you've got companies like Google and Amazon and Facebook that kind of control the media and the tech, and it becomes very difficult as they have very large resources. They're very good at extracting money out of companies, but for the kind of the normal business owner, the normal companies, for them to make money online, got very difficult. They didn't have the infrastructure, and so Diginius was set up to kind of give normal businesses the infrastructure to manage their online layer. And we found through working with a lot of direct clients, and then with agencies, we found agencies to be a very good route to market, because a lot of the small medium companies don't have the in-house resources, and so they work with agencies. And agencies, the digital kind of skill set is incredibly more advanced than kind of a lot of companies. So we found agencies as kind of a natural partner to work with.
And so agencies coming along, they, I know from running agency days that PPC initially, when I first started running paid accounts, relatively simple. Obviously there's complexities, but now there's multiple layers of complexity and all sorts of hoops you have to jump through to then spend £20 for a click on something that not sure whether you actually need to pay for that. What does Diginius do specifically now that agencies should really listen up and take note on?
So there's, I guess, a few different areas. That one of, like, the point you referenced there about spending £20 on a click. It's difficult sometimes to control things. So yeah, we do have bidding engines and algorithmic trading engines and so forth to kind of give the agency control. And and we do that not through scripts. There's a lot of um, scripts out there you can use, and the problem with scripts we find is that you still give the information to the auctioneer. So you tell Google exactly what you want to do and how you want to manage it,
Yeah.
and we feel fundamentally that's not correct.
Mm.
And the client data is very sensitive, and so to give I mean, why do you think Google Analytics is free? Because they want to know everything. So
Absolutely.
to kind of put a thin layer between client very sensitive information like profit margins and all these sorts of things, is we work with the agencies to kind of to do that and put it, and then give them, keep that reserved so it's not given to the platforms. So there is, we do have all these different ways to trade traffic online, all that are tools just for agencies. We don't typically give them to the end clients because it's more kind of an agency expertise sort of things. And then, but the other way we work with agencies, which is quite a big way, is we did have some kind of large clients a number of years ago push us really hard into Microsoft advertising, or Bing, and because the performance was so much better than on Google, 50%, 100%, just significantly better performance, just not the volume. And so, because of this push, we started working closely with Microsoft, 4 or 5 years ago, and we've now become their largest partner globally, and we currently work with over 600 agencies in over 50 countries, and we help agencies get better performance on the Microsoft channel. So we've got 40, 50 people working on the Microsoft channel, and that expertise, and so we're able to work with our software and our analysts to help agencies get better performance. And we do this in a program with Microsoft, so there's no charge to the agencies for this service.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Hey, voiceover guy here. Sorry to interrupt. If you're looking to accelerate the growth of your agency, then check out omg.center/info. Oh, sorry, Chris.
You pay one guy on Fiverr to do a voiceover, and he just keeps wanting to talk.
No, I love it. It's growth is kind of, that's what our platform is about as well. It's how do you get the cost under control and find those growth levers and really scale those up.
It's all the same. It's just different applications, isn't it? In many senses, like you've got lots of data and there's numbers to crunch and like you say, levers to pull. When you're working with accelerating digital agencies, it's not that far off the same thing. It's just the different facets of business growth. So what is it that you guys love the most about working with agencies then? Why focus, where you are in terms of agency space versus going direct to consumer or direct to business?
One of the things we love with agencies is it's like dealing with colleagues, more people in the industry, people that work with multiple accounts, multiple. So when you spend an hour on a call or 30 minutes on a call, the transfer of knowledge is just so much greater than kind of an in client typically. So it's in a way it's a very rewarding to be able to do it. Now you have to have, as a result, the team that deals with them and so forth have to be high level. We can't hire grads and talk to agencies. You have to have very experienced people in the field talk to agencies because they're very sophisticated. So agencies are some of the most sophisticated, both in the digital technology and in it depends who you talk to. When we deal a lot with the owners, so they're by definition almost all good at sales, in addition to being
and they certainly know when they're being sold to as well, Nate.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't bullshit them. You just straight direct. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is how we help you. And
Awesome. And if you were to sort of think about it from a perspective of, like, you must work with how many agencies roughly are you guys working with at the minute? Quite a lot, I imagine.
Yeah, I think last I heard 620 at the moment.
Okay, so you probably got a good handle on this, on the answer to this one. So what do you think separates some of the best from the rest in terms of the agency space?
So, I mean, you can cut that a lot of different ways. I mean, some of the things that we see work well is it could be vertical specialization. So they get really good at a certain vertical. Operationally, some are just incredible operators.
Mm.
Others, the relationship with the clients and kind of driving that through.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's the thing about an agency. It's like I spent my first part of my career running e-commerce companies, and um, there's like 100 things that moving parts and
Mm.
things that can go wrong and so forth. And so an agency is a very similar. You've got a lot of clients with a lot of moving parts, and then in the agency itself too. And so being able to kind of manage chaos is kind of the key. And so how to do that, it's a very tough job.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the right application of balance to a certain degree, because you can't focus in one area in an agency. If you're leading it, you've got to kind of have the right level of surface area coverage, so to speak. But as you grow with the leadership team working with you, you can focus on your specific areas. But it's they are, like you say, by nature usually very good at sales, but then there are some that come into the sector as agency leaders who are like incredible operators.
yeah,
There's some that come in that are subject matter experts but terrible at operating, because they can't get it out of their head what it is that they need someone else to do, or they find it hard to sell to a new client, but they're okay, picking up referrals because they're so good at what they do. And defining kind of what their future looks like, having that long horizon, makes that management of the chaos a hell of a lot less stressful, I think.
yeah, and with and we deal specifically with PPC agencies
Mm.
or the PPC teams in a integrated or a larger agency. And the thing about PPC is it's very technical
Mm.
and it's financial management
Yeah,
and it's creative.
it's a good old mix. And
Yeah, so get those all those right is yeah, it's a tough ask. But if you do get those all right, then it can kind of
yeah.
go.
And I think that
Yeah,
some of the best agencies, they almost certainly realize that you can't be good at all of the things that exist in that service line. So,
yeah,
if you've got a large enough agency and a large enough amount of clients, then you can have a creative team in PPC do creative and things like that. And then you've got your analysts, and then you've got your account managers and account execs. Um, for your ops and everything along those lines. So you do have to kind of, there's like an approach I like to if you've got the budget, you should probably be hiring from the top down as opposed to the bottom up, because you're likely to have better people that keep your clients for longer. But if you're a new agency living on cash flow, not as easy a balance to keep.
no, and it's a very in PPC. It's a very difficult practice. So we see a lot of agencies that partner with others that have a kind of a core. Like sometimes you'll have a full service agency
Mm.
that their clients require them to offer PPC as a service,
Mm.
where it's not their core, and so they'll sometimes partner with another agency to kind of provide some of that. And we see a lot of different ways doing it because yeah, if you have a poorly executed PPC service, it's almost worse than not having it. But
Mm.
if you don't have it, you lose the client. So you have to have it. But so there are some agencies that are very strong at PPC, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of agencies because it's so ubiquitous. You kind of have to offer it, and then how you offer that, it, yeah, it's because it's such a fast moving field. Sometimes it's better to partner with another one
Mm. Mm.
and figure out how to do it that way. But yeah, it's not a simple solution.
Not at all, no.
And you need a team, right?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult as an individual unless you're a highly experienced freelancer. Freelancers can often execute very well
Yeah.
on their own, but then only certain clients will deal with that. The bigger clients need teams, and so you kind of limited to a certain size of client as a freelancer. So yeah, we support freelancers, startups, large agencies, kind of everything in between. So we work out kind of the best we can do in the tools
Mm.
and all this to support them. But it is very different in the different I
Yeah.
guess types of agencies. Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you've just hired an entire research and development team. The Diginius R&D team is in full swing, and they're determined to build you a magic wand. And that magic wand can only be used once, though, because it's R&D phase, so one use only. What are you using that magic wand on to change in agencies in one go?
So, yeah, the team that I've got working on right now, the magic one we're doing right now, because we do have quite a big R&D team.
There we go. It's like I knew it somehow.
Yeah. We are building extending our platform to run PPC agencies entirely. So from all the incoming stuff, the logging of tickets, the developing the service plans, automating the ticket creation so you can train people, communicate with clients, budget automation, all that. Because we see that as just incredibly complex. There's not a lot of systems out there for it. And so if you're able to kind of decrease the operational workload by 30 to 50%, then you can often double your volume with the same team or more. So, and that creates a much more profitable agency. And so,
yeah, absolutely.
The second, if you had a second magic wand, one of the biggest requests we get from agencies is to build out basically nobody trusts the platforms anymore, so they want they want an analytics tool that'll give attribution to marketing channels correctly, because Facebook overreports their numbers, Google reports their, and so what's the full record of truth? And every time I get that, it's like, hey, it's kind of on our radar, it's kind of on our roadmap, but that's an enormous engineering project.
Yeah,
so
it really is. Yeah,
it's gonna be a while.
There's huge amounts of complexity in that one.
Yeah,
that's crazy, especially with the way that even devices, not just platforms, but devices are tracking things differently now as well. Must be a minefield. I don't know why you do it, Nate. I don't know why you do it. So agency leaders knocked on your door just now and they said, right, what one thing can you do for me today that's going to help me grow my agency? What one thing is there out of the big old roster of all the features and all the cool stuff that you guys do? What's the key thing that's going to help me grow my agency?
So in today's world, we give the best support in the world for Microsoft advertising channel, which and how to integrate AI into that and the offering and to grow on that. And so that, because of the until 6 months ago, nobody cared. We've been working in this area for years and nobody cared. It was really tough. And now all the clients, all the people, everybody wants that. So how to get your ads in front of ChatGPT and Bing API and all that sort of thing. They're we can work with agencies to upskill them into kind of cutting edge very quickly.
Yeah, that's a necessity now more than ever.
Yeah, so that's probably the conversation that's reaping the best rewards at the moment.
Awesome. Nate, it's been lovely talking to you on the podcast.
Well, thanks, Chris. Great to work with you.
Thanks very much. And in our next podcast, we'll be talking to another agency advisor or partner. In the meantime, have a great day.